Global Namaste and a warm hello to all the lovely people across the world. My name is Simran Ahuja and I'm truly delighted to welcome you all to DDF Advertising Presents Progressive India TV. And this is the inaugural session of the upcoming series, Incredible Indians. And for the inaugural session, on the 15th of August 2020, the Independence Day, we have a magnificent woman of substance. We are truly delighted to welcome her. Born in 1942, and the journey began, where she created history. It's time for us to take a moment to celebrate this beautiful woman of substance who is a phenomenal mother, a trailblazer in the automotive industry, and a remarkable role model for millions to follow. May we please welcome the very first female mechanical engineer at the Ford. A wholehearty welcome to the very beautiful and energy personified Srimati Damyanti Gupta.
Thank you, Simran. I was born in 1942 in a very small village of Sindh. In 1947, when India gained independence, country was divided in two parts, India and Pakistan. The part where my family lived became Pakistan. There were riots and unrest everywhere. We had to flee in the middle of the night from our village to Karachi. And in Karachi, we were literally loaded on the cargo ships, where we sat on the floating platform and floated all the way to Bombay. When we came out of these cargo ships, we were labeled as refugees. We could not speak the language, we could not communicate with anyone, and we had no money. We wandered around from village to village, town to town. Finally, we settled in Baroda, where I was admitted in Sindhi refugee school. We sat on the floors, but our teachers were great. They treated us like our own children. They took a pride in our success. Their doors were always open for us for any difficulty, any consultation. You will not find teachers like those today by paying even thousands of dollars. When I was 13 years old, in my school, they announced that Pandit Nehru was coming. I got really excited. That morning,
Prime Minister. He was then the Honorable Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, Honorable Prime Minister came to our city. So
right.
I went to see. That morning, I got up very early and I walked all the way to Polo Ground. That's where he came. And I found a seat very close to the podium on the floor. I put my handkerchief and sat down on that floor to listen to him. His message was very good, but something which really made change in my life that time, he said, we have no industry. India has no industry. We need industry, we need engineers. And he said, I'm not only talking to you little boys, I'm talking to you little girls. Consider this as your profession. That day changed my life. I came home and told my mother what I wanted to be. She supported me fully. She said, whatever you want to do, just work hard, I'll support you. And she kept her promise till end. Then when I was about 19, and then, I applied, that time I started taking all the classes to get ready for engineering college.
Right.
I got first class, and then I went for an interview. They were trying to convince me that I should go for electrical or civil, but I wanted to come here. And so, I was able to get in mechanical engineering. When I was about 19 years old, that time I came across biography of Henry Ford first. In that book, he promised that I'm going to deliver a car to the average income family. Cars were there before him, but his invention about assembly line made it car price so reasonable that average income family could afford it. I started dreaming to work for that company one day. So when I was in college, I used to tell my mom, I want to go to USA now. One day, my uncle from Madras, he was visiting us, and mummy told him that she really wants to go. He used to believe in those jyotshis and stuff like that, and he says to me, he said, "Beta, let me take you to this jyotshi. He will look at your hand and he can tell you whether you'll go or not." You know what answer I gave him? I said,
Right.
Uncle, do you have a razor blade? He said, why you need a razor blade? I said, Uncle, because if your Joshi can show me the line for my going to USA, I'll draw my own line. I don't need Joshi. You know what he did? He put a hand on my head. He said, now the God will come and help you from this point on. You are going. He says, if your determination is that strong, nobody can stop you. So when I graduated, I had admission from USA as well as a job offer from Germany. So I thought I'll go to Germany for some time, make extra money, and then go to USA. So with 40 rupees, that was $8 those days. Exchange rate used to be only 5 rupees to a dollar. With 40 rupees in my hand, by French ship, I left India. By ship, not by plane. In the economy class where I shared with, we were total 6 ladies in that cabin.
Right.
And I floated and finally reached Marseille, France. From there, I took a train to Paris, and then the train from Paris to Germany. This was an evening train from Paris to Germany, and it stopped around 2 o'clock in the morning. Train stopped, and this conductor got on the train and checking everybody's visa and tickets and everything. And he asked me to get out of the train. 2 o'clock in the morning. And remember, this is the first time I had ever left home, and I was 22 years old. I could not even speak French or any other language. So he asked me to get out. The reason for that, I did not have a transit visa for Belgium, and train was crossing Belgium that time. From 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. Remember those days we did not have cell phones or anything to contact anybody. I just sat on the platform, that small platform with a small, light bulb over there, and there one person sitting over there. I sat there from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. I had to take a train next morning to, capital and get my visa. Then I was able to go to Germany. So there were hurdles will always come in the life, but you should know how to handle those. And that makes you even more brave. You say, if I could accomplish each time, you will get a little bit more stronger. So finally I reached Germany. I worked very hard in Germany to the extent that my boss liked me so much that he even arranged a job for my younger sister.
Wow.
But before she reached, and she didn't want to even come, she said, I'm not going. You are already leaving for the USA. I said, you should come. It's a very good experience to be in the foreign country without mom and dad's, help all the time, where mommy and daddy, you want money, here is a 20 rupees, here is 50 rupees for you. And I said, you have to become very independent if you come here. So finally she came, but I came and I promised her, I said, as soon as I get my degree in USA and I have a job, I'll call you in USA. So finally she came, and I came over here, and I left from Germany.
That's it. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt here. Because there are a lot of questions I want all my lovely viewers to know. At first, I want to know that brilliant sentence which was said by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, who said that it's not only to the boys I'm talking about, I'm also talking to girls, which actually gave you that that feeling that, yeah, I'm here to fly. So please tell us what exactly, did our Honorable Prime Minister of India at that time speak about education for girls? And the second question I want to know from you is, you said you studied in a Sindhi medium school, am I right?
That is correct.
So how did you have so much confidence of going in a foreign land, where, of course, English is a main language, and besides that, they also have their local language. So these are the two questions I'd like to please ask you before we go ahead to the USA journey.
Okay. I tell you, my mother, who had only 4th grade education, she was visionary. Today, Big companies, they look for someone who is visionary as a CEO. But this woman who had only 4th grade education, they had lost everything in 1947, had 3 daughters, not a son. She looked through and I'm the oldest child. She looked through my eyes and she said, I got my solution. If I can educate her, maybe she can help the whole family. And she was so right. My whole family finally reached USA. Whole family. My 2 sisters. I have a youngest brother who's 20 years younger than I am. My brother and my mom and dad. My mom actually passed away in 2010 in Michigan. So it was more her work. I was working only in the studies, but she was behind the scene. She did everything. I can tell you one time when I was getting ready to leave, and dad was somewhat still concerned letting 22-year-old daughter go away, right? Alone, where they cannot even communicate with her. So he was concerned. So one time I was going upstairs and we lived upstairs. So we had a shop downstairs. So I was going upstairs and I heard my mother talking to dad. He says, have you seen me ever wasting any money? And daddy says, no. Do I go to movies? Do I go for any chat parties and all those things? And he says, no. He said, have you seen me even gambling 1 rupee on a card game? And he says, why all of a sudden you are asking all these silly questions? She said, today I'm ready to gamble. Today I'm ready to gamble. And she is going, and chapter closed. After that, they both didn't say a word. And she asked me to pack and leave.
Wow.
So that's how much it is. So even 2 ladies can together can do whatever they want to do. And this was my mother from the day one, from age 13, when I came home and I told her that I want to become an engineer. She supported me. Going first as a first female engineer to engineering college, she supported me. That engineering college did not even have a ladies' room. Not even have a ladies' room. So I was going 1.5 miles back and forth just to Faculty of Home Science to use the ladies' room. Till Dean found out that I was there to stay. I was not going to quit. They thought I'll quit within a week or a month or I'll be gone. When he found out that I'm there to stay, he built a beautiful ladies' room just for me. So, I mean, you can always find your way. I tell you one very nice, interesting story. When all my friends from high school found out that I have decided to go to engineering college, first day, they thought they will take me to engineering college. So 6 of us, we are on the bikes, right? And very first day, everybody's dressed very nicely to go to, first day of college. When we came pretty close to college, maybe we must have been like 1/8 mile or maybe even less than that. All these students, because it was the first day of the college, they were standing outside in the lobbies, outside. They saw these 6 girls coming towards that college where there was no woman before that. They started shouting, whistling, making all kind of racket. So my friend, they got scared. They all got out of bikes. And one of them, they looked at me and said, Damyanti, you want to become an engineer? From this point, you are on your own. We are not going to go any further. But we'll stand here and watch the show. If you can make it there today, maybe one day you can become an engineer. So I said, I'm not going to give up that easily. So I took my bike, went and parked the bike, took out my books. As I started charging towards these boys, they just moved like a Red Sea had parted. They just moved away. They were scared of me by that time. So I went upstairs and found my classroom and I put my books there, right? And the very first desk. No one ever dared to touch that desk ever after that. That was reserved desk for me for all my life after that.
So I think I want to ask you something very, very important here. Now, we always say it's a man's world out there. You opted for mechanical engineering because you were impressed, with the book of Henry Ford and you had that vision in mind. How did you really, be comfortable with all the guys around? 24/7, you are surrounded by guys. I mean, only boys in college, in the class. In fact, not just in the class, the entire college, it's only boys. So please tell us more about this. Did you have challenges at that point of time there, with boys, or they were very good friends with you?
They became good friends. I gave them a good challenge too. They were not my boyfriends. I did not have any boyfriend, I can tell you. They were my
Right.
friends. And most of them were probably the top students were my friends, because I wanted to always get top grades, so they were
Right.
my good friends. But no, I was not, because I was very focused. I was not focused on boys or girls. I was focused on my own study. I knew what I wanted. My Nani, she had taught me one thing. She said, when you want something, become Arjuna. I said, Nani, what's Arjuna? And she said, he was so focused that out of 105 students, he was the only one who passed exam. 105 students. You probably don't know that.
No, but this is amazing. I mean, the story of Arjuna. Of course, we all know, his dhyan skills and his dharana. So please tell us more. Yeah. So Nani told you this story. Yeah.
So she said, when you want something, you have to be very focused. You have to look at your goal so clearly that you can abstract everything around it. That's all you should see, day and night, your goal. Nothing around that. Like Arjuna could not see even a bird. He saw bird's eye. That's all he could see. That's all he could see. And he said, if you are focused, that you can accomplish anything. And I think she was so right. And these grandmothers were not educated, but they were very smart, very smart. They actually, I tell you about my dadi. She was so happy when she found that I had joined engineering college. My dadi, who had never been to college, school even, right?
Right.
Then next minute she started crying. I said, Dadi, why are you crying? And she says, I wish your dada was around to see that his granddaughter is becoming an engineer. So, these, my grandparents, my grandmothers, my mother, I think it was, people give them less credit than they deserve, all these women. But they are very smart. So my message is, please listen to your mothers and your grandmothers. You will learn a lot from them. Whatever I learned from them, today I'm passing out their teachings to my granddaughters. I have 5 of them.
Wow.
Nothing is my original. It is all what I learned from them.
Beautiful. So this is how amazing the college life was, and it really goes to the youngsters of today as a very, very amazing message that, look at the challenges you faced and look at the challenges, we faced. So I just want to ask you one more question here. Did you ever face ragging at that point of time? Did you ever have ragging, or I think it started much after that?
Well, even if they did, I knew how to ignore them.
Superb.
But then later on, they were actually scared of me, especially in final year when they found out that I was coming to USA and I already had my admission, my passport, everything was ready. They were asking me, where you are going? I said, why are you asking me? My classmates. Oh, we would like to apply in the same university. So maybe you can invite us for dinner one day. We don't know how to cook. I said, you got to be kidding. I said, I'm going as a student, I have to work as hard as you and probably more. So, but anyways, they became very good friends. And actually, even till today in USA, when I was coming here, a lot of my classmates, they went to their families and they said, even the girl is going to USA, so please allow us to go. So they were using me as an excuse for them to come here. So,
that's beautiful.
From my batch, there are maximum students, they came to this country, maximum. So I'm very proud that a lot of them are my friends still.
This is truly amazing on Incredible Indians and our very inaugural session. The most inspiring story, and trust me, the best is yet to come. Been on the cover pages of several magazines, right from Times magazines to eBella, where they call her the complete inspiring woman, the one who really empowers everybody. So we want to know, from Germany to going to the United States of America, and of course, joining your dream job. Let's begin from there and let's start the journey towards your marriage and your 2 handsome sons, Sanjay and Sunil. Let's please take forward.
Okay, so from Germany, I left on January 24th. I had a friend here already who lived in Long Island. Of course, those days nobody called each other, so I did not have his phone number. So he was going to pick me up from JFK. Unfortunately, the Air India flight I was supposed to take crashed. Crashed in France before, Mont Blanc. It crashed before it reached Düsseldorf that day. They didn't tell me that time. They just said your flight has been cancelled. So they gave me a taxi to go to Cologne, which was about 30 kilometers from Düsseldorf, and I took a Lufthansa flight. So I lost about 6 hours. My friend came and he did not know what happened. So he went back to Long Island. And here, when I reached in month of January, foot of snow in New York, I reached JFK about 8 o'clock in the night. Of course, he was nowhere to be found. And I did not even have his phone number. So how do I reach there now? So I went to the telephone booth, started, asking for his number, and I had his address. So this operator kept on hanging up on me. And because she says, I don't understand you. Because first of all, Sindhi last names are that long. And, my accent. So third time I told this operator, I said, please don't hang up. I need this number very badly. So she said, but I don't understand you. I said, do you understand ABCD? And she started laughing. I said, what? I'm going to start with the A. And wherever I stop, like A, B, C, D, suppose say D, then write down that D. So I'll start again from the beginning, and I spelled the whole name, my friend's name, and I was able to get his phone number.
Oh, that's so kind. Oh my. Okay.
So you had to, JFK, 8 o'clock in the night, month of January, nobody's going to stop and help you. So unless you come up with some innovative idea at that time, how do I find it? I mean, I cannot just sit and cry there. Nobody will listen to me, right? So every time.
Like now we just use the language A alpha, D delta, but those days, of course, we didn't know that. Yeah.
So I was able to get my own friend, even now he was laughing. He said, that's how you found my number. I said, do you think I had your number? I did not have your phone number. But anyways, but then from there, I went to Oklahoma State University, which is in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And I did my master's in 1 year or a little bit less than 1 year. I graduated on Friday. Saturday, I packed my things. And Sunday morning, first thing, this was again month of January, I took a train to Detroit, Michigan for my dream job. I had no boots, foot of snow on the ground again, no boots, no car, not even a very warm coat. But I had a very big weapon with me, my lifelong dream, which I have to accomplish at any cost. This, I had to do it. So I went for a job. First time in the month of January, went for a job interview with Ford. I was interviewed by a manager. He liked my resume. He liked what I had done in Germany and my grades from Oklahoma State. And he was so impressed that he says, please, that day was Friday. Say, can you call us back on a Monday? Because the person you'll be reporting is not in today, and will let you know when you can start. When Monday I called, this supervisor had told manager, I don't want any woman working, because it was in safety engineering. And he said, we had to crash the cars. You think little Indian girl will do all that? So he just didn't want to give me a job. But I went and called other company, and I was instantly able to get a job with other company, because I didn't want to wait, for in the month of January without car. So I worked there for a few months with other company. Then weather got a little better. I applied with Ford again. This time, this HR person looks at my resume, and he looked like really surprised. I weighed only 103 pounds that time. So he looked at me and says, are you applying for an engineering job? I looked at him, I said, is there anything wrong with that? And he says, well, we don't have any female engineers working here. I say, you're looking at one. If you don't give me a chance, you will not have any. And he says, you're absolutely right. So he sent me for an interview. and I was able to get that job right away. Only one problem: before making a final offer, this supervisor took me to his office and he says, "Boy, I got a big problem." I say, "Now what? After whole interview, you got a big problem?" He says, "I cannot pronounce your name. So if you can come up with a nickname, you got yourself a job." I came up with the name Rani, R-A-N-I, which means queen in Hindi. I said, "If you are making me change my name, you better call me queen from this point on." And I went from Damyanti to Rani that day.
Wow.
When we were expecting our older son Sanjay, and my supervisor found out, he called me in his office and said, "Make this one as your last month. Women, they don't come to work when they start showing." And he also added, "I hope you're not planning to come back to work." And I'll tell you, I found a way to come back, but I never said anything bad about this person. I don't think he was a bad person. He was just old-fashioned. He didn't think mother can work. But anyways, I worked for that company for 34 years. But when I completed 30 years, Ford had a big celebration for me at a Ritz-Carlton in Dearborn. And Ford used to have still probably has it, FCN, Ford Communication Network. It's a TV channel which they show around the world wherever Ford Motor Company's facility is. So they decided to show my video around the, on that FCN.
Right.
Next day, I got so many emails, mainly from female engineers, asking, "How did you survive 30 years back? We are still struggling in men's world today." Some they asked me, "Are you married?" They didn't think that a woman can handle both things.
All the careers.
Yeah. And some they asked me, "Do you have children?" By that time, Sanjay, our older son, who is now practicing neurosurgeon and chief medical correspondent with CNN, was doing his residency in neurosurgery. And he was selected to be a White House fellow under President Clinton. And our younger son, who's 10 years younger than Sanjay, Sunil, he had just finished high school and also selected to be a White House intern in the same White House West Wing. This was 1997 and we were blessed. Anyways, I continued working. Finally, I retired in 2001 from Ford Motor Company, and now we are settled in Fort Myers, Florida. So 2017, Time Magazine decided to do Time First project. Women leaders, this was about all the women leaders who are changing the world. And they contacted me. So a lot of people from Ford and Time Magazine came to Fort Myers to interview me. And I selected Henry Ford's lab and winter home, which is right here in Fort Myers, for my interview. And went very well. And I was included with Hillary Clinton, Mary Barra, who is a CEO of General Motors, Nikki Haley, and many other women leaders who have been first in their profession. And this was really very, very nice. Since then, I have spoken many places. I've been invited to come and speak, even my university where I graduated from. On April 21st, they had invited me to come back as a keynote speaker at Oklahoma State. Except because of this virus thing, everything has been canceled. Maybe in the future I have to go back when the time gets better.
You are still very young, let me tell you that. And sorry, in between, I couldn't stop, feeling moist because I was getting goosebumps when you spoke about your story and what challenges you faced. But I'm going to come back to your beautiful life. I do know for a fact that towards the start of your career with Ford, where you were asked to do some typing job, you said, I'm an engineer, give me engineering job. I want to know about that instance, and I want to know about something where you challenged people that this is what it is like, where you told them where they would telling about, what do you think about, the calculations? And you said, if I pass out, then it's this. I want to know about both the things. Please tell us. And we want to know more about those little bit inspiring stories from you. Rani, our queen, please.
So a few days after I joined Ford Motor Company, this senior engineer came to me with a stack of papers in his hand.
Yeah.
And it says, our secretary, Mary, has taken a day off and I need this in a hurry. Will you please type this for me? I looked at him and I said, I'm as qualified engineer as you are. So please go type yourself. Because once you start this kind of trends, they will treat you like a secretary. And I didn't want to go from engineering to secretarial job. So you had to set your ground rules right from the beginning. You have to let them know what you can do and what they cannot expect you to do.
Wow.
This is not, so you have to stand up for your own rights. You have to have a confidence in yourself. So that's, it's not because they are, I'm a different skin color and I'm a woman that I'll take anything, I'll do anything for anybody. I had a confidence in my work and I knew what I can do. Few years later on, I was getting, computers were still new in this country. So early 70s, I was very eager and probably the first one in my department to learn. So I was preparing this big report. So these big legal size sheets were printing and I was working at lunch hour because at 1 o'clock I had this big meeting. I had to take that report. So this engineer walks in, he starts staring at those numbers and he made a comment. He says, all these numbers are wrong. And then he started walking away. So I asked him to come back. I still remember his name. And he says, what? I said, I want to have you to take a challenge. He said, what challenge? I said, every number right and wrong on this sheet, you give me and every number wrong, I'll give you $1. If you can give me only 1 penny for every right number, I'll give you $1 for every wrong number as long as you give me a penny for every right number. You want to take a challenge? He took off in a hurry. He went and the department told everybody, don't ever say anything to her. So, once
you were right.
Yeah, if you are right, but you cannot have false confidence also. You have to work first. I'll never tell any woman to just challenge anybody without working hard. So always work hard, then have a confidence. You have to be always one step ahead of the game. Always. We have to compensate for our shortcomings. Going from India, of course, and I'm from Sindhi school, so my English is not really, very good. But
Was not good.
Yeah, but I had to compensate I had to have some other, things better going for me.
Yeah, true. So true.
So,
wow.
But then after that, once they know your work, then they leave you alone. To the extent when I was completed 30 years, I went to my manager. I said, you know what? After 30 years, Ford has you're completely wasted with the company. You get a full retirement, you get all the benefits. And my mother was here. My father had passed away. So I wanted to spend more time with my mommy. And I used to ask mommy, why don't you come and stay with me? And she said, you are gone from morning to night. What I'm going to come and stay with you? I'm better off in my apartment where I can see other people at least. So I went to manager and I told him, I said, I want to retire. And he said, why you want to retire? I said, well, I have an elderly mother who will not spend time with me. And if I'm retired, she will come and stay with me even. So he said, have you considered telecommuting? Telecommuting was not common in this country at that time. This was 1997 when I completed 30 years with Ford Motor Company. And I said, I didn't think I have that option. And he says, well, I can send a crew down to your home tomorrow and set up a whole office for you office in your home. And he did that for me. So last 4 years of my career, I worked from home. And he says, I don't want to lose, talented person like you. So you can do whatever from home. And I was so happy because my mother, right away, I was able to get her with me, and she came to stay with me. So finally, yeah.
Beautiful. I want to know definitely, it must have not been easy. It's very easy the way you're sounding it. Damyanti ma'am, I want to know what exactly happened when your kids were born. How did you balance life? It's just unbelievable. And how are people at workplace? I mean, were they looking at you, from, perspective that, we think you can't really focus because you're managing everything. Tell us more about this. How did you balance everything?
You're right. It was somewhat very scary. As a single woman, you can handle a lot of things, but as a mother, it becomes a totally different. And especially being in a foreign country where you don't have any help, like you don't have a parents or a relatives or somebody to help you. I had to find a babysitter from newspaper. And he was born in October, and I started working from January 2nd. So he was only like 2 months, 9 weeks old when I started working. And the month of January is so cold. I had to put a sweaters and buntings and put him. And this poor kid will still kind of thought, why are you taking me out in this cold, But I had to do it because if I didn't go back to work at that time, I probably my career would have finished at that point, When Sanjay was about 12 years old, I asked him this question. I said, Sanjay, what do you think, mom working mother? And he says, Mom, I had never seen you not working. But I know one thing, that when you're not working, you're always with me. I never went on my own any place without my children, besides my work. As soon as my work was over, I was home. We always enjoyed Indian meals. I still enjoy cooking. I really enjoy cooking, to the extent that my granddaughters, they look for my Indian cooking. Every time they see me, they want that. They don't want mom's food anymore. So, and Sanjay and Sunil, I think I'm very fortunate. They turned out to be both very good, because a lot of times people, they say working mothers cannot raise good, children. So sometimes we have to prove them wrong. It can be done. Children are very smart. Sometimes they don't listen to you, but they always, always, always follow you. So you have to set an example yourself from them to follow you.
Wow. And I want to definitely know, which was the biggest challenge at your workplace from your work front? Like, you told him that, for every wrong answer, I will give you $1, right answer, you pay me a penny. Which other challenge did you face, especially in the world of men? In the field of mechanical engineers, where everyone has their own expertise. And we have this lovely lady who's like super confident, that too in Indian. So it does matter. At that point of time, it did matter much more than it does today. So please tell us more about this.
Okay. Few months after, I had lived in Germany, where the cars were really kept very nicely. Now I'm working for a big auto company in USA. And those days in 60s, cars were not very reliable. Actually, people used to make a fun of these cars. They will get rusted, they will not start in the morning. So one day in the meeting, of course, I was the only female and from India. So I raised a question. I said, why are we producing junk? And I literally used that word. And they start looking at me. What in the hell she's talking about, I say, why people are changing cars every 2-3 years? Why are not we be making, reliable car? And, I got a very bad answer at that time. They asked me, actually somebody at the high level asked me to sit down. And he said, if we start producing really good cars, who will buy cars every 2-3 years? This keeps our economy rolling. This was the answer I got at that time. Except, and this is in 60s, in 70s, when the Japanese competition caught up with us, and Japanese were making better cars, smaller cars, and they were taking a good chunk of our market here. That time, their slogan changed. They said, quality is not job one. I said, what happened 5 years back when I said the same thing? They changed after that. And I worked in the reliability, quality for quite some time. One time there was one sensor I was working on, which if it fails, you cannot start the car. So I was in a big meeting and I had to get this PCR, part change request, signed by everybody before that we can make that change. So what they used to do, they used to say, okay, how much that change is going to cost us, okay? And then how many cars and how many trucks that sensor is on. And then they used to multiply by 3 years, that we get a investment back at least in 3 years. And the cost I suggested was not passing that thing. So they said, well, this does not. I said, okay, let me tell you, if this sensor fails, you cannot start your car. What happens if your wife, your daughter, your mother is in downtown Detroit, which is a bad area, comes out of the show and cannot start the car, and something bad happens to your daughter? What cost are you going to put on that one? And everybody looked at me and I looked at each other and said, please pass on the paper. Everybody signed. Everybody signed. It was signed right at the spot. So you had to come up with a good reason. I said, money is not everything. I said, when we are making bad cars, we are losing so many customers. But if you make one bad customer, you will lose 100 customers. But one satisfied customer will bring you thousands of customers, because everybody talks to everybody. And they finally got up with this idea that quality is number one. I mean, we can make differences. We are small, but still we can, little by little, everybody can make a difference in this world.
Now, I want to say this here. This is pretty much interesting in your life, Rani ma'am, if I may call you, because I like that queen feeling. You actually are one queen. Right from the time you were born, besides your siblings and your mom, are the only girl arena where I see that you stayed in. Right from, college with all boys all around, to your workplace with men all around, to your home where you have your husband and your two handsome sons. So again, boys around. Did you ever feel that you are also probably not feeling much of a feminine, and you've been taken and considered one as the man, a decision taker always, because you've always been with guys throughout your life?
Simran, when I was young, even, I was not like, I shouldn't say that, but I had no interest in really a lot of makeup. My first lipstick I bought was in Germany. My first lipstick was in Germany. So people, and my mother, I think, even though she encouraged me all the time, but because I was so simple, even if you ask my classmates, say from college even, they'll tell you I was so simple and so focused that I will not pay attention to anyone, So, mommy even knew that, that sometimes she thought, will she find even a boy or somebody will be in, that kind of thing. And I didn't even care, because I was married to my dream that time.
I love this. What a sentence. So I'm going to tell you to please give a message to all the youngsters. It's not just females, but you are an inspiration for all the boys and everyone. Like your sons have made absolutely fabulous careers, taking a look at you. So what is that one message which will go to the masses, to all the youngsters? किस तरह से वो जिंदगी जिए और किस तरह से they should really win over life? Just the way you spoke about Arjuna, he had his guru, Guru Dronacharya. आपके गुरु कौन थे और वो कौन सा मैसेज आप देना चाहेंगे सबको, प्लीज?
मेरी गुरु तो हमेशा मेरी मदर ही रही है. उससे ज्यादा मैं किसी को भी उसका दर्जा दे ही नहीं सकती हूँ. बाकी लोगों को I'll tell them, do one thing in your life, be happy. If you are not happy, you cannot accomplish anything. And do what your heart desires. Don't listen to anybody else. Because unless you don't like that what you're doing, how can you do your best? To do your best, enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy every moment of your life. And just look for that thing. Because you should be so attached with that thing. You should have such a commitment in that thing. See, if somebody tells us to do something and I don't like to do it, what kind of commitment we have in that? Like I have seen a lot of parents, they force their children to become this and this because this is their dream, not their children's dream.
Right.
So live with your dream. I tell my granddaughters, I said, you can be anything you want. You can be anything you want as long as you work hard and be sincere. I'm not going to tell you to become this or that. A lot of people, they say, oh, are you asking them to become an engineer? I said, no way. I never asked my children even to. Both my sons, they did. One became a doctor. Other one has done law and MBA. And they both are doing wonderful. How can I tell them to be something they didn't want to be?
Wow. Did you ever feel that, wish you would have given some more time to your sons because, Monday to Friday you're working? Ever feel that? So if you could just suggest everyone, how can they really balance? All over the world, nowadays females face this trouble.
That is my regret. Many times I think about it. I wish I spent more time with them because you know what? They leave home so fast, and they are gone then. Then those days, they don't come back again. Even though looking back, I think they feel proud. Even my children feel proud of me that I was able to do it. But as a mother, I have mixed feelings. Sometimes it's a very difficult decision. So, but in my situation, it had to be done too. Because it was not a question of just my my children. It was question about my parents, my siblings. At a very young age, I took a very big responsibility. Like 3 months after I graduated here, 3 months, I was like a 24. Before even Ford's job, I had sponsored my sister in this country. And I was paying for lodging, boarding, tuition fees, everything. So, if I did not continue to work, my other dream of getting my whole family here would have not materialized. And if you are working, then you're a little bit more strong. You can take the steps. Otherwise, it's difficult, right? So
this is so touchy. This is something so touchy. So I'm so delighted that you shared with us your inner story. But I must tell you, and still, there is a very strong point here that at least you're spending so much time with your grandchildren. So I think it really compensates very well. You are spending quality and fabulous time with your grandchildren, and the stories that you have to tell. You've been an inspiration for the entire world. We are here with the most amazing, beautiful, magnificent woman of substance on Incredible Indians. You've created history and you wrote the history with your own hands, which is not truly, an easy cup of tea. So congratulations to you for that. And what you've achieved, nobody can really achieve. So I don't think, you need to even think about anything, because what you have done, only you could have done with your focus, with your hard work, with your perseverance and your faith and the confidence that you had. I think you are a great inspiration to everyone, and we are so delighted to have you for this inaugural session. Towards the end, I want to tell you, कोई भी जो आपके दिल के बहुत करीब हो बात, it could be with your hobbies that you realize now that you are with your grandchildren and you've been at home at the age of 87 now. Is there something that you probably recently developed, could be your hobby, could be, the fun time that you spend with your grandchildren, something very nice? And on the lighter note, we like to end this lovely session.
I enjoy cooking with them. My all girls, they come, especially when I'm frying puris, because they think it's puffing up. So they like to fry puris with me. But they enjoy they love mango lassis. They love bhindis. They love all Indian food. I tell you, one time I was visiting Atlanta because there was a hurricane came to Michigan. To Florida. So we went to Atlanta, and that time Sanjay was getting an award in Italy. So my daughter-in-law said, "Mom, can I go with Sanjay too? I love Italy, and these girls can be with you." I said, "That's the best thing. If parents are not there, you are more closer to your grandchildren." So, but these girls have a schedule. I couldn't believe it. From the school, everybody has a different activities every day. So we could not, I was cooking only at home all the time because they'll come home and they'll go for other. So just a weekend before they were going to come back, Subhash said, my husband said, let's take them out at least once to. So I asked these girls, I said, where would you like to go? We'd like to go out for today. And because we are not from Atlanta, you had to come up with a place where you. So they went to have a meeting. And after 15-20 minutes, they came back. I said, you guys have decided? Yes. So where are we going? Daddy, we want to eat at home.
Oh, so adorable. Oh my God.
I said, why? Why don't you want to? He said, Daddy, you'll be gone in a few days. We can always go eat out, but we love your food. Do you mind cooking for a few more days for us?
So adorable.
So I mean, these are all 5 of them. I tell you, God has, we had 2 sons. We have 2 sons. And God has sent 5 adorable girls on our way. I mean, each one of them. And their parents are doing 100 times better job than what I did with my boys. So these girls are amazing. I'll share one little story with you, how I met my husband. You know that I went alone.
And in fact, I wanted to say that, I think a lot of credit also goes to your husband, who also balanced, everything. So please tell us.
They said 1 + 1 is 2. In our case, 1 + 1 is 11. Because when I was working, sometimes we had to work overtime. Sometimes I had to go on Saturdays. He always took care of them. And even during the week, when we both came home, I'll be cooking. I enjoy cooking, and he'll be feeding, giving them a bath, helping every way. And very nice. And one time I came back from work. I was working on Saturday. I come back 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I see Sanjay still in a diaper and dancing with his daddy. He's only like a year old, and they both are singing and dancing. I said, have you given him a bath? He said, who cares? He's enjoying. And I could see they both were enjoying, So, I mean, but he has been a super. And the way I met him, again, my car broke down. One day, he was a student in University of Michigan, very fine University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And I was driving through that city. I parked my car, and when I came back to pick it up, it won't start. So those days I did not have any kind of a road service or insurance. Here we call it a AAA insurance. I did not have anything, and I did not have a lot of money in my pocket to, really pay somebody. So I came with the idea. I said, if I can find somebody from India, maybe they can help me. I knew probably what's wrong with it, but I needed a little help. So I went to the nearest telephone booth. We used to have a telephone booth before these cell phones came. And there used to be 2 books hanging over there, yellow pages for the business and the white pages. So I opened the white pages and I started looking. Since I grew up in Gujarat, Patel is a very common last name. So first Patel I found, I just called that number, And the person answering at the other end said, Mr. Patel is not here. May I take the message? I said, no. Please don't hang up. I'm not looking for Mr. Patel. I just need some help. And he said, what help? I said, well, my car wouldn't start, and if somebody can help me. And he said, but where are you? Ann Arbor is pretty big. So I went and looked at the cross streets outside, and I told him where I was standing. And he says, do you see this big building right across you? I said, yeah. He says, University Towers. I said, yes. He says, I'm right in that building, and I'm on 17th floor, and I can see you from there.
Oh my God.
And eventually he became my husband. That was Subhash.
And then what happened? This is romantic now. So let's talk romance. And then what happened? And then he came down to help you.
Yeah, we started the car. Car was started. And then, of course, we all Indians are very, they come on over kind of thing, right? So I went upstairs, and they offered me tea and whatever little, and we exchanged the phone numbers. And then after a few months, we met again and got married.
Beautiful. Now, this is amazing. Every time you go to Germany and there is something, you just pick up the phone and you call anyone at random. The same thing you did in USA. I mean, you never got scared in life. Did you ever get scared? कभी भी डर लगा हो? Oh God, अभी क्या होगा? Because parents aren't with you. They're back in India. कभी भी कोई डर का moment हो, or you just pick up the phone and at random ask for help?
Well, वो कहते हैं ना मरता क्या ना करता. There's no other thing. Plus, when I parted my mom in 1965, March 14th, I was very close to my mom. Very, very close. Being an oldest daughter, she did not do anything without, consulting me. We both will go shopping together and all those things. And I did not see tear in her eyes when she parted me. Not even a single tear. She went home and cried probably whole night. But she didn't want to make me weak. And her last words were, I won't be with you from this point on, but somebody much more powerful will be with you. So just pray him, ask for his guidance. He will always guide you. You will never be disappointed. And she's gone, but I know who is with me even now. She's watching me from there, and God is with me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What a blessing.
Everyone has a kind of family, even though we do not have money. Money is not everything in the life. People, they think they should be born in very privileged families. But I think having a loving parent, mother with unconditional love, and fully supportive, and so is my husband. So I'm very fortunate. Now my children, they are like that too. So I'm very, very fortunate. My both daughter-in-laws are amazing girls. So
beautiful. So here we have applauses, and I must really thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because the fact that a girl with a dream and with a vision changed her entire life, be it her parents' life altogether, her siblings, and of course her entire personal life, with her sons towards the grandchildren. What an achiever! Absolutely remarkable. We are truly fortunate here to have with us Srimati Damyanti Rani Hingorani Gupta, a complete magnificent lady who smiles, who rules the world, and who believes in living life on her own terms. Truly a visionary leader. We are more than humbled to have you here with us on Incredible Indians, and we are really proud that you are an Indian and you've achieved tremendous success, created a mark for yourselves, and absolutely been an inspiration for millions of them to follow you. Thank you so much, and fabulous applauses for you. It's been such a fruitful journey. My eyes felt moist, toys, feeling very, very touchy about your experiences that you shared with us. And I must definitely say, the journey has been really heart-touching. And we loved it completely from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And a global namaste to everyone.
Thank you.